Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And welcome everyone to Talking Fishing, our Christmas edition. And can I take this opportunity to wish all our viewers a very Merry Christmas. All the regular segments up soon, plenty to talk about, and some sensational catches to see tonight as well. Adam Ring, 4 million people are about to descend on the Mornington Peninsula. Busy times, eh?
Yep, Merry Christmas, Dave, and Merry Christmas, Trelly. Merry Christmas to all the viewers out there, and watch out the Peninsula, because it's all about to happen.
It is about to happen. And Trelly, just some advice. No trying to drop down anyone's chimney tomorrow night. You're not as slim as you used to be.
Oh, it just takes all the fun out of it, doesn't it?
Oh, well, I know you. What happens after dark? You know, munching a few Barty grubs like we saw last week and down someone's chimney. And anyway, right. Shepparton just won't be the same. Anyway, good time of year, isn't it, guys? Because everyone's really thinking fishing and camping and their holidays, or so many people are. And is there a bit of a trend, people going away before Christmas now and actually having Christmas at their camping spot?
Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one. I never thought it would get this far, but a lot of boats and caravans and
already
trailers and things, already on the road and are set up and ready to go.
Yeah, I do actually. I suppose because our families, the world's a small place now.
Yeah.
You could have your kids could be in Sydney or Melbourne, so it probably allows you more time to think about Christmas and getting away.
And people are travelling, before to get to their families and be with them.
I've drag fridges up to the river, get a generator, and they go, "Oh, what do you want? What's in the fridge?" It's unreal how they set their camps up nowadays.
Yeah.
I know.
Is that camping?
No, incredible times. I guess the other big reminder too is that we joke about 4 million people heading down the Mornington Peninsula, but it is the busiest time probably in the next week or so for boats on the water, or many places, on the Murray River and touch wood. There's always a bit of an accident sort of thing up that way, and people have just got to be careful. You've got to be thinking 10 times smarter and really have your wits about you when you're out there driving. Don't get on the 0.05 bandwagon or anything like that. Right. Just behave yourself, because it is that much more dangerous.
And a lot more craft on the water these days, whether it be boats, kayaks, jet skis, the whole lot. So keep an eye out. You've got to have your wits about you, be alert, and leave all the fun stuff to after hours when everyone's off the water. The alcoholic fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of patience. You need patience this time of year.
Absolutely.
Confined
the other thing is some great, and we're going to see Catch of the Week very shortly, but some variety of catches now absolutely creeping into the fishing reports, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. And we were talking last week, I think it was, that we are in the best time of year for fishing.
Yeah.
And it's great that it ties in with our holiday season, because even though we're on the back of our snapper season, there's still plenty around, but we get all the next season coming through with the whiting, the gummy sharks, the yellowtail kingfish. There'll be makos offshore. Just a beautiful time of the year to be holidaying and spending time on the water.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what would be your most different species that you'd expect to see in the next couple of weeks?
In previous years, I'd say Murray cod, but we've seen so many reports, and just having a quick peek at the Catch of the Week, there's a bit more coming up there. But
Mako's got to be one, don't they? Mako's will start making a real appearance. We've seen the odd one in the reports.
And I reckon we'll start seeing a couple of photos of threshers start to pop up over the next couple of weeks too, which whether it's out of Port Phillip or Westernport, either or either. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see one of them, and I reckon we'll also see a sighting, maybe not so much a capture, but a sighting of a mako actually in one of the bays, whether it be Westernport or Port Phillip. Yeah.
The other thing is, your table fish, like your whiting, have certainly got a lot stronger in Port Phillip Bay, and we'll talk about that very, very shortly. In fact, boys, it's time to check what's being caught by the people at home. Let's have a look at some of the catches of the week. And number one, David's stall. This one's a little bit out of town, but Lake Tyers, absolutely on fire again. 88 centimetre dusky flathead. That is a cracker flathead.
Well, any previous years with this many big flathead reports coming out of Tyers, you'd be saying, no, same fish over and over again.
Yeah.
But I can 100% guarantee you, you have a chat to the boys up there, whether it be Frank Melito or a lot of the locals which are fishing up there, and there is just this massive run of big flathead. They're all down the front. You can catch them land-based. You can catch them in a boat. There's heaps of them.
From all reports, the entrance is still open. I think this is probably the longest that the entrance has been open at Lake Tyers for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's obviously doing something different with the fishery. So I think the people that are heading down there are in for some sensational catches.
Definitely.
Number 2, Mark Jackson, a 58 centimetre cod from Picnic Point. Charlie, I said, that's near Echuca, and he said, no, it's not. I said, yeah, it is anywhere between Swan Hill and Malakutas near Echuca, I reckon. But Picnic Point up in the Barmer Forest, a lovely cod coming from that area.
Yeah, that's an interesting area that in the Murray River. That's what they call the choke there. So that when the water comes down the Murray, it actually chokes there and floods back upstream a long way.
Yeah, okay.
There's a couple of caravan parks there which are really good. There's a chap called Norm. Now, he's really good to get to know if you go up there and stay at Picnic Point, because he's actually been one of the guys that goes out and measures fish when they have the comps up there. So he actually knows where they get measured from over and over again over the last few years. So
he's built up a fair record.
Yeah, you know Norm, he usually walks around his jocks in the caravan.
Measuring cod. Yeah. Great picture of that. Jamie Townsend, he got a cracker, 90 centimetre cod from Echuca.
Just near Echuca, Dave.
That's near Echuca too, Trelly.
Yeah, actually, look, when you look at that one and the other cod that we've actually shown picture, you see he's sort of really white on the bottom and pale. It's like, I reckon it's because of the quality of the water, as in the clarity of the water, not the quality so much. And living in the mud and on the bottom and things, as opposed to some of the fish we see from other rocky places like Gildan.
Yeah, okay. Next one up is, this is exciting. Now we should have a drum roll. Oh, it's already on.
There it is.
Yellowtail kingfish, the first one from Mornington Pier for the season.
That's right, and
that is exciting.
2 exciting things about that photo. Yes, yellowtail kingfish from the Mornington Pier, and 2, that is the new part of the Mornington Pier, which is now open. Yeah, that's the half where it was all locked away and gated up. That's now open and ready to go. What a better way to celebrate.
So we should point out a couple of things. Pav there rang in the shop and said, "Hey, I got a yellowtail kingfish." Took the photo and all that. That fish was released because it was under size,
2
but
centimetres
with a hook in his back, or
no, not looking for a big one. But isn't it great to see the first yellowtail kingfish caught off Mornington Pier for the season? It's just an exciting time.
Oh, it's huge, and it's massive for the area because it's something that's actively, people wait with bated breath, so to speak, waiting for these fish to turn up. They're there, first one's caught, it's game on now.
You'd have to say, as we've been talking for a long time, that Mornington Pier, the amount of small calamari coming off that pier has been in unbelievable numbers. It's going to be a cracker. I'll call it squid season, but I guess everyone getting in the peninsula, the Bellarine Peninsula, those sort of places, are going to have a cracker time on the squid because there's just a lot in our water.
Yeah, that's right. They're big this year.
That's why the yellowtail there, are they? The squid?
Well, that's certainly, Mornington's going to be a place where they go to because of the food source, you know. Right. So great to see that come up. But anyway, Emily Kovzan, or Kovzan, a lovely brown trout from Lake Purrumbete, 3.3 kilos. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about the trout. There's still some crackers getting around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got big hands, hasn't she?
Yeah, that one.
I think that might be Dad in the background, I think. Didn't want to get a slimy shirt.
And as I said earlier on, the variety in the catches this week has just been sensational. Think big charters were out, and a lovely school shark on Westernport.
It's a massive school.
That's a nice school, isn't it?
They've done well to land.
And
one of the hardest.
And behind the scenes, Sean said it was difficult to get it in, and they had a few issues, but it was fantastic. What a capture! So you'd have to be pretty happy with that one.
That's a cracker fish.
Yeah. Sean's been fishing remarkably on the gummies of late.
Yep.
And then to get a schoolie like that just tops it off, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. And it's not easy to land those. They're one of those fish that are way too keen for their own good. You know, you drop down on a bit of wire, they won't have a bar of it, they can sniff it out, and they just won't go near it. You put down something on a bit of mono, and they bite you off in 30 seconds. So it's hard to get a fish that size. That's one thing worth pointing out. It takes some effort to get a school shark of that size. So well done to the crew.
If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Sean or Brendan Wing, isn't it? So
yeah, they're getting it done. They are getting it done.
They certainly are the specialists of that. Particularly over the holiday period, people at home, please take a nice photo of your catch, get some good pics, send them in to us. And if you'd like to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing picture info@ifish.com.au.
Now, boys, a bit of holiday activity, like we said, down the Mornington Peninsula, obviously is one of the closest, I guess, to Melbourne of those really top touristy spots. Bellarine Peninsula is another one. So you've got, Queenscliff, Point Lonsdale, right along that St Leonard's area. Port Arlington, I know, is a massive caravan park area in that.
Yep.
And there's some great fishing along that sort of area, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely, and not just for the guys pushing out in the boats. A lot of the beaches fish quite well. We're off to a flyer of a whiting season in Port Phillip, and they're definitely a great land-based target. The calamari are going to be huge. There's snapper, there's gummies, there's a whole lot. We're
going to talk about all your favourite places later on the show, but coming up on Talking Fishing, product of the week and lots more right after this.
Talking fishing, talking fishing, talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And boys, product of the week, what floats your boat?
What floats your boat?
Yeah, what floats your boat?
We are indeed talking about floats.
Yeah, we will talk about floats. Now, one of the things about floats is if you go back in time, people have fished bottom, they've fished surface, they've fished all different sorts. And if you went back in time, people would just have the old-fashioned, probably the red and white, I reckon, would be. Would that be the first?
Or a bit of cork.
Or a bit of cork.
Bit of cork.
Wine bottle cork.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things, you know. So there's a whole lot of different floats on the market now, I guess.
There is.
And let's kick them off. Let's have a look at some of the different floats and the applications for them, Mads.
We'll start with the basic red and white float. This is the one we all grew up using. It's very basic to use. It's got a small spring with a couple of little hooks inside there, and it's as simple as clipping one end onto your line, clipping the other end just underneath. It makes it very easy to slide. So if you want to adjust your lengths, depending on what sort of depth you want to fish, you can actually move them on the line quite easily. So there's no stoppers, there's no swivels, there's nothing. It's just a matter of
and that's probably the beauty, unlike the other ones that we're going to show, is that you don't actually thread your line through it.
No.
You clip that onto your line.
That's
right.
The difference.
So
it's great for the kids because they can muck around with them and really get a feel for, I guess, what float fishing is all about. They can muck around with their depths easy. They're not going to break anything. It's not going to not work.
The other thing I find that is a great emergency type thing. When I say emergency, you're fishing for snapper or whiting or something like that. You got a bit of a burley trail. You bring fish up. You see some gars in the trail, and you go, got to get a bait out. You know, under a float. You don't want to be pulling leader off, tying knots. Just clip that on, small long shank or something like that, and you're onto the gars very, very quickly.
Exactly, and I guess if there's one negative with that float, it's very light. They're all plastic these days, so they get hard to cast, which takes us to the next one, which is, I guess, your small bubble float.
Yep.
Now, these are huge, especially in the freshwater, because if you're fishing those banks where you've got quite a lot of weed growth in front of you or quite a lot of reeds, you can actually, it's almost got like a big pin that runs through the middle of it, which is clear, and your line does run through that, but you can push the bottom of it up and it opens up the bottom of the float.
Yep.
So you can put a little bit of water in that, which gives you a little bit of weight, which in turn means that you can cast your mud-eye or your minnow or whatever you're casting. You can get a little bit of extra distance. So that's probably the preferred choice for the freshwater fishers.
Yeah.
Because they are generally fishing around weed or a lot of, I guess, reed growth around the edges of the bank. So you can put a little bit of water in that, get a little bit of extra distance, and that's going to benefit you big time. You're not relying on a breeze coming over your back to try and get your float out.
Yeah.
You're in the fishing spot straight away.
So that's the old traditional fishing report. You hear a mud-eye under a bubble float.
That's the one,
isn't it?
Yep,
But
that's the one.
Like you say, when you weight that with a bit of water, it actually offers less resistance to pull the float under too. So the fish, if it's a little bit finicky, can actually pull it under the water. Very little resistance, so they don't sort of feel something and spill it out.
That's right, and that little resistance is where this little float comes into its own. This is the traditional pencil float. We probably sell more of these than anything on the peninsula because this is your garfish special. So very, very long, very, very streamlined. You do need the aid of a few split shot to really get that down.
Split shot sinkers.
Split shot sinkers, which is just a small sinker that crimps underneath your float onto your main line, because that's designed to be pulled under the water with minimal effort. So a small garfish, and when they are finicky, when they are being a bit shy, they can actually feel the weight of that float and they will not take your bait. So they really come into their own. There's a small silicon ring which sits around the top of the float there.
Which,
you can run your line through that. Again, it just makes
like
it easy.
an inbuilt stopper, isn't it?
That's right.
Ring,
it just makes it easy to adjust. If you
and
need
they're
to
a
adjust
really
it.
good one for visual, fishing, so you can see that red tip or orange tip, whatever you want to call it, bit fluoro, you can see that go under.
And there's nothing more exciting than seeing that float just slip under the water. And 1 minute you look at the next minute you can't find your float.
There's only one thing, it's a fish on.
You've got a fish.
That's
so
the one,
they're a great one for the saltwater guys especially. Now we move into our squid floats or live bait floats. A lot of guys are using these for live bait these days too.
Yeah.
It's weighted at the bottom. It helps you get distance. When you're fishing live baits or you're fishing dead baits for squid on the squid prongs, getting it away from the boat can be quite a significant advantage. Probably more so with the squid than actually a live bait, because if you try and belt a live bait over the horizon, you start ripping hooks out and things like that. But a little bit of weight just helps you get it away from the boat a little bit more, plus the weight at the bottom keeps the float sitting the way it should be.
The other thing is it's quite a big float, so it's got a fair bit of buoyancy. Even though it's got a bit of weight and you've got a fair bait underneath it, it's got a fair bit of buoyancy and floats really well. And again, nice indicator, that fluoro orangey red on the top.
Yeah, you can see. And the size just means it's designed for bigger baits. That's designed for a whole silver whiting for a squid, or let's say a live yakka for a kingfish, or a live calamari or something like that. Designed specifically for a big bait. And they're a huge seller for the squid market.
We might use something like that up our way for perhaps freshwater catfish.
Oh yeah,
that type of thing, and a big worm.
Yep.
And your certain length, like you're saying about your weed beds and things, and just sit them out. And catfish will actually, they'll feed bottom feed, but they'll also come up at night time and feed like that type of thing.
Okay, yeah. Great for night those too, because you can see them a mile away.
Yeah, they're good.
Yep, and this I guess is a variation on the float.
And that's
that we
different.
Just
a lot of people don't use them or know that they exist, do they?
No, that's right. And I think if you're fishing for calamari, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You can get these in all sorts of different variations. Some have got rattles in them. This one is literally one of those floats we looked at before. So it's got a polystyrene base, and then you've got the reflective plastic over the top.
Which is like a mirror.
Exactly.
So you imagine the glistening sun getting shot off at all different angles into the water.
Exactly. So that doesn't matter how murky the water is or how discoloured the water is. The light's going to hit those mirrors. And even, can you imagine having a nice yakka sitting below that? The sun hitting it, the kingfish just being mesmerised
what is that up there?
Before they know it. Exactly. So I think that's a great one. It is weighted as well, like the float that we looked at before. So they're very easy to cast, designed for a big bait, but you've got the extra, I guess, the added flair of the mirrors on that too.
Goes with your hat too.
Yeah, that's it. I can hang it off my ear.
I was going to mention it looks a bit like your nose after Christmas Day, but anyway.
And a few other spots.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that's it. That's just another variation on the caster float we looked at before. But like everything which we've shown you over the last few weeks, there's more than one thing to do for one purpose. Everything really is specific these days. And though I guess you can strip everything back to the basics and still catch fish, these just give you that little added extra to turn an average day into a great day.
Yeah. It's those little 1%ers, isn't it?
That's it.
That get you the fish. So
exactly right.
Good stuff. Floats aren't floats. They're
That's
just
right.
there's so many, and we could only bring in a small part of a range of floats.
An absolute fraction.
Plenty of other things to talk about with floats. Let's just talk about kingfish for a while, because you talked about live baits, kingfish, and that. We've seen the first photo of a kingfish from the Mornington Pier for the season. We showed the footage, was it last week or the week before, from the Rye Pier?
Yeah, that's right.
There's certainly going to be some kingies in the bay and lots of bait. Where would you be going for your live bait in Port Phillip Bay?
I guess the easiest way to approach catching live bait is try and think as basic as possible. Any rock wall, a lot of the marinas which are going to attract
Blair Gowrie would be number one, I reckon.
That's right, Blair Gowrie on the outside, on the bay side, I guess, of the rock wall at the end. If you want live bait quickly, there's quite a few mussel farms spread throughout Port Phillip Bay.
Yep.
Out from Mount Martha, there's one out from Beaumaris. They're just beacons.
Yeah, it's one at the end of the Pinnis Channel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, down towards
right
down
out
towards
the centre, which is absolutely chockers with slimy mackerel at this time of year. So
and slimies are going to be your number one live bait. They have been for the last couple of years on the kingfish. They just can't resist them. I think one slimy is worth about 4 or 5 of every other live bait.
Yeah.
And you can get them in all these places. Very fine burley. You don't want to be spending all day catching live bait if you're going out on, say, a kingfish trip. You want to try and get them. The point is to get them as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Straight to these areas, some really fine burley, get those liveys in the tank, try not to handle them too much. You don't want to knock scales, you want them to be pristine by the time you put them in the water. And slimy mackerel to a kingfish is just like a jelly bean in it.
It is, yeah.
So
it's exciting. I reckon it's only a matter of weeks before we start seeing a lot of photos on social media and all the fishing reports of kingfish in the rip. And like we saw at Mornington Pier, throughout the bay at different places.
And it's amazing how one photo, like we saw in Catch of the Week of that kingfish off Mornington Pier, it's amazing how quickly we'll start to see photos now, because a lot of people just need that confirmation. A legitimate photo caught this year of a kingfish, and you watch how many we see over the next few weeks. Whether it be from the Mornington Pier, whether it be from Bowen Heads where they get quite a few, whether it be from the Rip, whether it be from the Phillip Island coastline of some bigger ones, it'll just prompts people to really start focusing and putting some time in, and we'll get some good reports over the next few weeks.
Trelly, freshwater scene, how's the question without notice, I must add, how's the Goulburn flowing now?
Good, really, really good. Just coming down today, and the river at Seymour looks probably as clean as it usually gets. And
is it a high or a low flow?
It's probably a little bit above summer level.
Yeah, it's irrigation time, isn't it?
Well, it is, but it doesn't seem to be. Hasn't been high for the last couple of weeks. So when it gets down and gets settled like that, and we haven't had a huge rainfall, it really does clear up. Now that's then the result of Shepparton's water. Then after that, so Shep's really cleared up. It's been really stable, so it's been excellent as far as fishing, and not having muddy banks, to slide up and down and that type of thing. It's been excellent. They also coming up, I noticed the irrigation channels are running pretty hard, like you said. Yeah. And they catch a lot of redfin in the irrigation channels and things like that. And
so they pump water from the Goulburn up into the irrigation channels?
No, it's gravity fed down through the system.
Okay.
Yeah, so it gets to the weir at Ngambie, the Goulburn weir there, and it's pushed out through that. The level of water gets pushed out, so it's not pumped.
Okay. I remember years ago we used to yabby in little irrigation channels.
Yeah.
That were quite still, but you get heaps of yabbies in there.
Yeah, that's right. And water deliveries come in all different forms, and irrigation is one of the biggest ones. Yeah. But it looks really, really good at the moment. The Goulburn looks really clear.
That's good. And plenty of people will be going up that way. Another question: where does the trout get to and then start native fishing? Like, is there a border? Is there a place where you get both, or
you probably in the old days you'd get trout right through the system down to the Murray. Yeah. And it's funny. It's a good question, because the irrigation system that we talk about, you can catch basically trout almost down to the Mallee. Yeah. Because they get in that clear water. Yep. They go through Ranga Basin, they go through the system, and they go right down there.
But it doesn't get too warm, because I mean, I'm not saying I don't like the word global warming, but is it getting warmer up, parts of those areas?
I don't think so. I think probably one of the biggest things with water is vegetation and trees. Like, if they take away the non-native species, it opens up the water then to more sunlight. It's naturally going to warm the water. It's got nothing to do with the other things. Yeah. But irrigation channels at the moment are flowing really good. They're worth fishing. Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Up next, fisheries news and plenty more on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now it's time for the news. The fisheries news. Sounds a bit fishy to me.
And boys, you just better keep it quiet now. We're back on.
I'll say nothing. I'll say nothing.
Little bit of banter going on off there, but anyway, fisheries news. Plenty of fisheries news. Well, a little bit of fisheries news. The headline in the Weekly Times last week, boys: desperate effort. I'll start again. Desperate effort to save Tolondo Reservoir now in the hands of police. Water has been illegally allowed to run in Tolondo Reservoir. Just north of the Grampians, Tolondo Reservoir has been the centre of a long campaign to receive emergency supplies of water. As you know, we've spoken about plenty of times on the show, and we've had footage of the rallies and all that sort of stuff. And it appears that someone may have tampered with the gate, and I think about 200 megalitres got into Tolondo Reservoir. And look, please don't get us wrong, we don't condone that behaviour, no one would.
Yeah, it's not the right way to go about it.
But it's a result of the frustration of anglers, and you've got to look back on the previous government that said there's no water. There's no water, you can't have any water. And then started to change their mind and say, well, hang on, there is a little bit. You could probably have 5,000 megalitres, but you've got to pay $600,000 for it. Yeah. And the anglers haven't got $600,000. I mean, we did ask for a bit of a tin shake and couldn't raise it. So, it's the frustration that causes those things. And I'm not saying we condone it. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it's the result of the frustration. And we had a little promise from the Andrews government when they were elected that they would do a few things about it. And I've got a little bit of a summary of what they are about to do and what they're going to do. I'm told that water is imminent. So it's just around the corner. Can't announce anything yet, but there will be water soon, I'd say. The other thing is the Arthur Rylah Institute. So the Victorian government's going to employ those guys to install depth and temperature monitoring equipment into Tolondo, and that'll give some real science around trigger points for a fish kill. So they're saying at the moment, if nothing was done right now, those fish will be gone by February, March. You know, and I guess they take into account how many 40-degree days you have and so forth, a few predictions on water level, evaporation rates and all those sort of things. So they're going to get some science happening, which is a great idea. Get Arthur Rylah, they're the experts in that sort of stuff. They'll have real-time monitoring in there to say, hey, gee, you know, if something does go wrong, we need to do something about it. Yep. Then a new reference group will be set up by supposedly by the end of January, and that's another promise. You know, they sort of said that, you know, we'll set up a group to have some recreational representation on that group. And I guess the likely outcome, or the hopeful outcome from all that, guys, is that there's a recreational allocation, similar to, you know, rural, domestic and environmental allocations, is that it simply just needs a recreational allocation of water each year. Now, I think anyone would be a fool if they said that we can get water in there during drought. You know, there's got to be some priorities. But again, I'll go back to that, what was happening, you know, 3, 4, 5 months ago, where they were saying there was no water, then all of a sudden there was some water, and you've got to pay a price for it. Well, you know,
it doesn't make sense.
Is there or isn't there water? To me, that says there was a bit of water. Let's get a bit in, and you know, when that water's in, let's just see how it goes. You know, it's I think it'll give it a bit of a refresh if we can get some water in the next week or so. Gives it a refresh, gets it over a point where there may not be any fish kills for this summer, and then I think people have really got to decide about, you know, how, and when I say people, hopefully there's a well-led reference group with some recreational input that at the end of the day, you'd sit back and go, okay, there's no more water for Tolondo. We've got to look at a strategy to get the fish out, and it might be open slather. It might be get a commercial guy in there and net them. But at least the recreationals have got a bit of say in that. And you know, I think that's going to be the best outcome.
Like you say, with some research, there might be some trigger points, like you say. So
that's
a certain amount of water, they'll be able to measure that hopefully in the future and come up with a formula to say, well, we only need a little bit of water to get us across the line to winter time, that type of thing.
And Trelly, no one argues with science. You know, this has been the whole debate with marine parks. You know, is that there's no science behind marine parks. They just go and plonk them there. They just don't know, and there's nothing behind it. So
emotional science, and that's
emotional science. That's
you've got to look at history too. So history doesn't tell lies.
So I reckon a big tick to the state government for that.
Definitely.
You know, particularly the science stuff, and
definitely.
And they'll get a little elephant stamp or a purple star if the water goes in. So
they should put a money slot machine on top of that water release. So you put $1 in and a meg comes out.
I don't know if you guys listen to the rumour file on 3AW in the morning, but the rumour is someone very important will be opening the gate. All right, so let's just stay tuned for that. Department of Primary Industries in New South Wales, they've introduced some new rules for southern bluefin tuna, boys. DPI Acting Director Recreational Indigenous Fisheries Cameron Westaway said a ministerial order has been put in place to allow recreational fishing for southern bluefin tuna to continue, but with a new bag limit of 1 per person is now in place. So now, interestingly, I think the bag limit used to be 7, I think. We were talking about this on 3AW last Friday night, weren't we? We've got great memories. There's too many Christmas parties in between now and Friday.
Let's say 6 to make it.
But they were mixed up with all the other tuna. So you can get bonito, you could get stripers and all that, and then you get a bluefin. So I agree that the bag limit need to be tightened a bit. But what I don't like, and I'm just trying to find it here. Although the latest international scientific information shows some positive recent signs in the recovery of the stock, the species remains classified as overfished by the Commonwealth and endangered in New South Wales. And I don't dig that. I do not dig that because
endangered
the news... we only read out the news from, I think it was Senator Erica Betts, who's the Parliamentary Secretary at federal level of fisheries, saying that the World Organisation has actually increased the commercial take by 10% or near 10%. So, you know, the world's saying, hey, there's a few more around, let's increase the quotas a little bit. And New South Wales are going, oh, hang on, they're endangered. You know, and I'm not saying they've really tightened it ridiculously, because the other thing is, they get a different run of fish to Victoria, don't they? Particularly that Bermuda area. They're getting 60 kilo fish or 50 kilo fish compared to Victoria, you get 15 to 25 or 100.
Or 100,
you know, so
look, they might go past another country where they've got no quota. Things like that happen. So,
exactly. So, look, that's a bit of news, bit of interesting news. There's always something interesting in fisheries, isn't there?
Yeah, we'll start to see a little bit more now that as they come back from holidays and things start filtering through.
And I've got a bit of confidence too that there's some sensible rules in place in Victoria for southern bluefin tuna, and just hope that doesn't change because. It's just one of those things. It's a great fishery down Portland, Warrnambool, those sort of places, right. Polo Bay, and shouldn't be touched.
So I can only fit one tuna in at a time.
And the fisheries and a handful of guys have been putting in so much work in Victorian waters to provide a little bit of scientific backing when it comes to southern bluefin stocks around Portland and Port Fairy and that sort of place. So you just hope someone doesn't step in and go, doesn't matter about all that. Yeah. We're just gonna cut it down anyway, just in case.
Lock
exactly. It's not quite that easy.
Boys, Kramer's mailbag up next, and we talk about some of the places you might head for Christmas holidays. See you after this.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
And yes, welcome to Kramer's Mailbag. A few little bits of mail this week, boys. Can I just remind everyone at home too that next week we are on, but it's a pre-recorded show. So if a striped marlin is caught in the next 7 days, I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about it next week because we've actually already pre-recorded next week's show. There you go. Kramer's Mailbag. Hi, all. Now that you guys, I told you the subject. I didn't tell you what I'm about to read out. Fisheries will probably be ringing me tomorrow saying, why did you read that? But anyway, let's go. Hi all, this comes from Daryl Purvis. I've found the best and easiest way to collect pippies is to wait. And I've got to get the words right. Just let me work out what because I've just realised.
It must be just to wait.
No, there's just a word that I didn't realise was there. Wait for the poachers to obtain more than their limits. Step 1, you wait until they're finished collecting their pippies for the day. Step 2, you wait until they're close to their cars, so you don't have to carry them for miles along the beach. Step 3, you tell them that they've just broken the law and you've phoned fisheries and the police. If they're smart enough to realise they're in trouble, they'll leave the pippies on the beach so that they can leave the beach with their legal limits. And step 4 is help yourself to your legal limit that they've left behind. Someone actually wrote that into us. Oh, I'm sorry, Fisher. I just had to read it. That's the easiest day collecting. Now, listen, this is good. That's the easiest day collecting pippies I've ever had, and I've also enforced the law. If we all took the same approach to these poachers, maybe they wouldn't something and pillage the beaches in the numbers they currently do. I read it and I thought, oh, this is rubbish. I went to tear it up and throw it in the bin. And I thought, you know, it's actually not bad because there are. We all know there's poachers out there.
That's right.
Unfortunately, and there's a small percentage of people. But say that you've told them to drop their catch.
Let it be here, I'd say.
Yeah. That's up there. It's top 5. Yeah.
Apologies if anyone was offended by what I just read out. But anyway, that's fair. Okay, next one. Hi, David. Just a note to say how much this is from Pam Raffeld. Hi, David. Just a note to say how much my family and friends enjoy talking fishing. It is so fresh to have a fishing talk show detailing such up-to-date and interesting information. That's why we're live, because we want the up-to-date information, apart from next week when it's pre-recorded. We love the hot spots, and whenever possible, take out our boat to where you've suggested. Don't know about sampling those bardy grubs, though, Trelly. Is it possible? Is it possible to purchase coffee mugs like you have on your table on the show? We would all like one of these, and if so, could you please let me know? Well, we did let her know, and I think she's already bought some.
There you go.
Just got to come down to Cranbourne and pick them up because we found a box.
Beautiful.
I didn't think we had any.
I didn't think we had any.
So,
probably saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. If you'd like to write to me or these blokes, this is what you have to do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, P.O. Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
Now, you mentioned Facebook, Trelly. If anyone wants to be friends with us or follow us on Facebook or whatever you do these days, get on to talkingfishing.com.au. That's our website. And on there, very easily, there's a link to our Talking Fishing page and also our Twitter page, because in 2015, we're going to try and get smart, and we're going to tweet and tweet back and listen to tweets or read tweets and try and do a little bit of live interaction with the people at home. So follow us on Twitter, which I think is Talkfish Live, I think. Anyway, best thing is website, talkingfishing.com.au. Next thing I want to mention, boys, a very, very good fishing competition is on in Westernport late February, early March. It's the Westernport Angling Club's Whiting Challenge. And Trelly, I guess if you relate it to the Cod Classic is the pinnacle for cod, the Tea Tree Snapper Comp is the pinnacle for snapper. This is the number one, I guess, Westernport whiting fishing comp, you know, and it's been running for, I haven't got my glasses on, the 26th annual, I had to look at the screen a bit closer there and I just got sprung. 26th annual whiting challenge, a great day. Rex Hunt is the presenter at 4 o'clock on the Sunday for all the prizes, and major prize, boat, motor trailer, I think 40 odd prizes, thousands of dollars worth. Pretty good comp, isn't it? Yep,
and the kilo whiting's got to go.
Well, the kilo whiting, let's just tell people about that. Mr. Worsling.
Has to go.
Paul Worsling is offering $1,000 for anyone, for the first person, that gets a 1 kilo whiting. Now, it's got to be possible.
It has to.
There's big whiting in Westernport.
We've heard of some
now.
already. Let's just bring on that weekend.
I reckon Paul must work out with the moon phase and the tides. That's the most unlikely weekend.
Can't have this that weekend. We've got to
the
bring
most
it back
unlikely weekend to get a kilo whiting. They all just shut down. He must know that. He puts up $1,000. Now I reckon it's gone off once. Pretty sure it's gone off once.
I can't remember.
In 26 years. Or he's due for another one.
Oh, definitely.
We want to see him hand over the one big one.
Or the whiting that swallowed a couple of sinkers.
Yeah.
That's why we sell so many.
I reckon if one topped a kilo, Trelly, they'd do some feeling of the stomach and check it all out and that sort of thing. Yeah. But it's got every chance. And it is a great comp. Old Don, who works for us, he's on the committee down there, Don Newman, and what is he, 93 or something like that? He's still out catching whiting every week, and he just loves his whiting fishing, and he helps organise a great competition down there.
Right. February 28th and March 1st.
That's the one.
And you can pick up entry forms.
Entry forms you get on their website, which is, I think, WPAC, which is Westernport Angling Club something. Google them. That's the easiest thing to do. Just
or you
Google
can pick them up from some of the tackle stores.
All the tackle shops have got the entry forms.
Yep.
And it is a little bit, Trelly, I guess, Westernport focused. So, you might get so much, in Geelong hearing about that sort of thing. And do they run many comps out of Geelong? Those sort of things?
I think they do. They did.
I guess we don't hear that this side of the bay. We're based over this side.
Yeah, they do some good kids' days down there too. So, but I'm not up with.
Well, that's the beauty of the Westernport Whiting Challenge. I mean, it's a great time of year because it's still February.
Exactly.
It's still very warm, and they have a kids' comp. You go down to the presentation. There's a sausage sizzle. Kids, get drinks, and I think every kid gets a show bag or something if they enter. And you don't have to be a member of a club. Just get down there for the social aspect of it is very, very good.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just a family thing that if you want to do.
Comp.
Yeah.
Kids will be writing in if they don't get a show bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just see David Kramer
to his bags.
Boys, whiting. There's some good fish around too.
Yep.
I think we've heard through people were switching off snapper a little bit because snapper's been a pretty frustrating season, and we've seen them in Westernport. I know, in fact, the chairman of Future Fish Foundation, Michael Buxton, fished with a couple of grandkids today with Sean Ferdier and got a lovely bag of decent sized fish. Inspired him to actually say, get on the phone, David, I need some more rods and reels and they're going to be like this. So we got him fixed up with that. But we've now seen some of those bigger fish being caught in Port Phillip Bay, particularly along that, I guess, the end of the peninsula, Point Nepean and those sort of places, those high-flowing areas close to the coastal waters of the ocean, some big whiting in Port Phillip Bay.
Yeah, and it looks as though we're going to get a really good whiting season in Port Phillip Bay. I mean, I don't want to sound like we're really pushing the Port Phillip thing, but it's almost expected of Westernport, and it has started off with an absolute bang in Westernport. So it's going to be a big season there regardless.
So if I was going to come down, Adam, coming from country and looking at the show, or from city, you don't get, like, when should I get there? What tide? How would I go fishing for whiting?
The great thing about King George whiting, you don't need to worry about this 3:30 a.m. down at the ramp start. Don't worry about it. You catch them all the way through the day.
Yep.
But you must have running water. you must have tidal flow. If there's
when that
small tides,
when that tide slows,
Yep.
it stops.
Right.
it's hard. You're better off going to get a squid or going to do something like that.
Have lunch.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. But if there's flow in the water,
Yep.
you're every chance, and you'll catch them anywhere from a metre of water down to 15 metres of water. It's just the shallow water's probably a hell of a lot easier. They're not really a fish that you'll sound up in deep water.
No.
Yeah.
So it's a hell of a lot easier in the shallows because you can spot
And you can
your
catch
sand
big
patches.
fish in deep or shallow water.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And
definitely.
particularly those, point and a poon that I rave about. 2 to 3 metres of water.
Exactly.
Very fast flowing water.
Yeah, and
So
you're looking
sand
in the
patches.
ground. Sand
Yeah.
patches. You want
So
lots
you,
of
you
lots of
sneak up on
broken
a sand
ground.
patch like I'd sneak up on a duck hole.
Yep.
Would you do the same thing?
Well,
Well,
Not to run over the
you got to
boat.
put your anchor, you got to get your anchor in, so
Yeah,
as
yeah.
quiet as you can. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
okay,
might
yeah.
need a bit of burley to get them going, but certainly it's exciting, exciting fishing. So, guys, we'll leave it at that. Coming up on Talking Fishing, this week's hotspots and what's coming up on C31 Fishing right after this.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Hello, Ritchie Minnow here. It's now time for this week's fishing hotspots on Talking Fishing. Marvellous.
Ritchie Minnow. Now, do you remember what we said last week?
Oh, I remember. I've been hanging for this moment.
Ritchie Minnow. In you come,
Ritchie!
Ritchie Minnow. People over here, Ritchie.
Thank you.
Now, people may not have
Ritchie.
seen the person behind Ritchie Minnow, but Ritchie, how are you, Ritchie?
Absolutely marvellous.
Now, you're a very good friend of Max Walker's, am I right?
Yes, I am.
Have you been speaking to Max lately?
Not recently.
Oh, yeah.
He's-
What are you doing? You're Ritchie Benno.
Absolutely.
You're not going to go to Max now.
You want me to do Max Walker?
Oh, geez, it's marvellous to be here on Talking Fishing, here with these wonderful people on the fishing program. Isn't it wonderful? With Big David, Big Trelly, and medium-size Adam.
Ritchie Minnow, people. Ritchie Minnow. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Craig. You're a marvellous part of the show. Merry
It's a
Christmas.
pleasure. Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care.
Merry Christmas, Richie!
Thank you very much.
Good to get Ritchie Minnow because it's all real, isn't it? It's all live and it's all real. And Richie sits out in a little box out there, or a little fish tank.
we let him
actually.
out.
We let him out every now and then. But anyway, let's have a look at the hotspots. Blair Gowrie is our number one, and boys. One of my favourite parts of the world, Blair Gowrie. It's a place where there's a lot of weed beds, a lot of calamari. The whiting are on. Some beautiful flathead on the sand flats there. You've just got it all at Blair Gowrie.
Yeah, and it is a beautiful part of the world too.
Yeah.
Big yacht club there.
Yep.
You can catch all those fish off the pier. They're quite a deep pier actually.
The Marina Pier is it'd have to be good 200 metres long.
Yep.
Great, well lit at night. So
And you know when the calamari are on because there's
because
more
the deck's black. It's actually a concrete deck, and it's black with ink during this time of year. So just absolutely fantastic. The second hotspot, St Leonard's. I know it's going to be busy. I know there's going to be hundreds of boats there, between Christmas and New Year, but you can't go wrong. It's just one of those places that is just absolutely fantastic for King George whiting fishing. It's probably, Trelly, in your shop in Geelong, it's probably the number one place where people are sent for King George whiting if you want to guarantee them all year round.
Yeah, you're certainly right. But that whole area, I mean, once you get to that spot, it's not too far to get to other spots around there too. So if there's something going on, a quick look around, you can shoot off from there. But it certainly is.
And quite often when you've got that westerly wind, it's very protected in there.
Yeah, that's correct. That's a big plus over that side.
Yeah, you've got some great piers and so forth. So, no, it's all good. Next one, Port Arlington, just around the corner. Trelly is, I guess, a bit closer to Geelong, but a massive couple of caravan parks in Port Arlington. They just get absolutely packed out this time of year. And again, a very good jetty. Lots of structure, I guess, because there's a big fishing fleet there. All the mussel boats are there, a whole lot of recreational vessels and so forth. So a lot of activity in the water, if you like, under the water, which provides the habitat for the the fish.
We don't hear a lot about it down our side.
No, but Port Arlington's beautiful. If you ever get a chance to go over there, go and have a look. It's absolutely
We don't
beautiful.
want to say too much from over there. But you're right, with a lot of the structures in there from those farms, as far as the mussel farms things, it's good, great joint.
Number 4, Cow's Jetty, for all those people heading down to Phillip Island. You can't beat the Cow's Jetty this time of year.
And it's a big fish jetty too.
Absolutely, yeah. Plenty of snapper around. I know we haven't spoken much about snapper because people have moved on to other species. It's probably that they're targeting other species more than anything, but you're always good for a snapper off the Cow's Jetty.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
some great fishing at night. You get gummies, you'll get big 7-gillers.
Yeah, you get calamari and whiting off there as well, but I guess it's probably more known, as a big fish jetty. Like I said, a lot of big 7-gillers and bronzies have been caught there over the years. This day and age is probably more of a snapper hotspot than anywhere because you've got access to deep water within a good casting distance.
Yeah. Next one, boys. I love this place too. I wish I could get there more often, but Lawn Pier. Got to be. Have you ever been there?
I haven't, but I've heard too much about the fishing there. It's got to be soon.
I mean, just watch the pier to pub swim. It's on just after Christmas.
Okay.
It's famous for that, where they swim from the pier, and I mean, thousands of people dive into the water off the pier. That just goes to show how big the pier is. And Lorne is a beautiful place. To me, it's I liken it as the Victorian version of Noosa. You know, just nice shopping strip, nice restaurants, pristine beaches, beautiful surf beaches, bit protected, and then you've got this beautiful pier. On the southwestern part of the bay, I guess, almost the little where Lawn is, and the fish off that again, black deck, plenty of calamari.
Then you've got school up.
You get big whiting at times, and particularly if you want to fish off it at night, you're better off some of those species that might get a bit spooked during the day. A lot of people on the pier and so forth. Big whiting, salmon at times, big flathead. Plenty of calamari, like I mentioned, and trevally as well. Some great fishing, and not only the Lawn Pier when you're in Lawn, but there's a couple of nice little inlets and rivers that are really, really nice as well. So great place to go. And then I reckon the next one, Lake Tyers, has got to be the #1 holiday destination hotspot that's going to be on everybody's Facebook page this year.
Yeah, well, when we start talking about Gippsland, it's definitely the year of Lake Tyers, isn't it? It's been open for quite some time now, probably the longest it's been open for a while. There's going to be, it's chock-a-block full of massive flathead.
Yeah.
The bream is schooling up nicely. It won't be long before the prawns are running red hot.
Yeah.
And it's just the place to be at the moment. If you want to go to Gippsland, you don't have to drive past it, which in previous years, it's almost better off driving past and going through to Bam or Marlow or places like that. But
not
stop
anymore.
at Lake Tyers this year.
The other thing is a lot of people that stay at Paynesville, Bairnsdale, Swan Reach, those sort of places.
So close.
I used to go there a fair bit and never went to Lake Tyers.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, hang on, I've got this big lake I've got to keep exploring there. Or the Tambo, it's the king of bream and all that sort of stuff. But Lake Tyers is, I guess, go back 10 or odd years or whatever, and they banned the netting there.
Yep.
It's really changed that place. And
it has. And now that it's been open
it's
for
a
while.
mecca.
Beautiful
Absolute
water
mecca. So, just a reminder for everyone: all our hotspots are on our Facebook page from tomorrow. So, if you want to get onto our Facebook page, talkingfishing.com.au, and there's a link there straight to it. So, easy to find. And if people want to see where our hotspots are, and they'll probably see all the catch of the week and all that sort of stuff. I think Kevin puts them all up there and does an absolute marvellous job. Trelly, up your neck of the woods, where would you, I say Lake Tyers is the real hotspot holiday destination. What would be your #1 up your neck of the woods that people are going to?
Oh, I'd say I like the Barmer Forest up our way.
Yep. So that picnic point that we were just talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Picnic Point's actually on the New South Wales side, so but it's still a great spot. But upstream from that, right up to sort of Strathmerton and Cobram, there's so many little bends that you can get into, and there's a sandbar on the end of them and things like that. So you see quite a lot of ski boats up there this time of year. But fishing's great.
If you're going up to, say, Picnic Point, where do you stay? In the forest?
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's no town or anything?
No.
So you're unpowered, no toilets, no showers?
Yeah, you're sort of in between Echuca and... Oh, no, he's got power and toilets and all that type of thing.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, in between Echuca and Denali, when you turn off at Mathara, turn into your right and go into the forest there until you get to the...
Now, when you...
side.
So, so there's campgrounds?
Yeah, campgrounds and a caravan park. Yeah, there's actually units there which are on the water too, which you can hire. Basically, units right on the edge of the Murray.
Oh, so when you say Barmer Forest, I just think of bears and things like that, and wolves and
Western Ice Forest.
Down here, city people.
How do you approach the fishing there? Because do you just pull up on a bit of bank and throw in a barley grub if you haven't eaten half of them on the way there?
That's
like, what do you look for, so to speak? You're just looking for a log and throw something at it, or how do you approach the fishing there?
Well, you do. It's the same as you guys down here. So what you do is you look for the water will be pushing onto a bank, and you'll get that big back eddy. So you'll fish those sort of fishing areas.
Awesome.
Boys, it's time to have a look at what's coming up on Channel 31 now, and some cracker fishing. People are just going to be kicking back on Christmas Day and in between turkey and ham and all that sort of stuff. You may as well have a look at what's on C31 for the week. So coming up on tonight, 9:30, Catch and Cook, and then 10 o'clock, Savage Seas Adventures with Charlie Micallef. On Wednesday, tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning, On the Fly. And if the kids are up early on Christmas Day, 6:30 in the morning, whack the telly on C31. You've got Australian Fishing Network and On the Fly at 10 o'clock in the... that's at 10 o'clock at night. Getting my times wrong there. But 6:30 in the morning, you've got AFN. And then on Friday morning, when you're recovering Boxing Day, you've got Catch and Cook at 6:30 in the morning and On the Fly 7 in the morning. And then we go to Saturday, a big weekend of fishing. Big Saturday morning, 10 a.m. On the Fly. 10:30 Savage Seas Adventures, 11 a.m. Australian Fishing Network, 11:30 a.m. That's Fishing, 12 noon Catch and Cook. Have a little rest, then the extravaganza on Saturday continues, doesn't it? Saturday night, 6:30, that's Fishing, 7 o'clock On the Fly, and 7:30 Australian Fishing Network. And just a reminder, if you've missed a couple of our episodes, you can get onto the Catch Up TV, c31.org.au, I think it is, or .net.au. Just look up Channel 31's website, find us in the program guide, click on us, and you'll find our previous episodes up there on Catch Up TV. You can actually see Trelly eat a barty grub from last week if you'd really like to. The stomach all right after that, Trelly? You survived?
No, it's fine. Yeah, I usually handle a dozen or so of those.
Is that just before lunch or after? Yeah.
Entree.
Slide them in.
But seriously, if you want to see Trelly eating a barty grub, that's it was on last week's show.
I'll
and it is
do
on
it again
Catch Up
later
TV.
Yeah.
I'd like to. Did you do a little recipe or something like that? Hey, or
Yeah, I can. Yeah, well, I can.
or do you always just eat them raw?
No, you could. Yeah, well, raw is actually quite good. They're a bit better than the last ones I had, actually. That one. But
barty wrapped in scrubby, or
yeah, we can do something. We'll put something
there
together.
you
Actually, the barty grub roll, sushi. Or something.
That's enough about hearing what Trelly is having for his Christmas dinner, and that's it for Talking Fishing. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next week, don't forget we have a pre-recorded show, so if a striped marlin is caught in Port Phillip Bay, we won't be talking about that. Please stay safe on the roads and the water over this festive season. Merry Christmas to you all from all of us here at Talking Fishing, and until next week, enjoy some family time and enjoy your fishing.
We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing. Talking fishing.